High Level is a full CRM and marketing platform, and I've used some of the best in the SaaS industry. And we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and our guest LinkedIn too. They both connected. Go follow our guests. You're going to be meeting them here very soon. But before we do, I got to tell you about a few things. One of them being High Level and the other one being StreamYard. So High Level is an agency CRM and marketing automation platform that we just love. I talk about it every week. So, you can spend thousands of dollars on SaaS tools, or you can come into the modern world where people aren't spending as much anymore on technology, and you can consolidate, get everything in an all-in-one tool for $97 a month. Businesses are empowering their teams with marketing, email, workflow automation, CRM, AI, all the bells and whistles that you would want in a CRM and marketing automation platform in High Level. And then we here at Reveting have white labeled it, and it's an agency account. So not only do we have an account, we're able to give all of our clients an account at app.reveting.com. So when they sign up, we can ensure that they have the tools they need to be successful. But yeah, if you have any questions about High Level, check it out. If you're listening on podcast, just go to reveting.com/high level and you get a 30-day free trial on my affiliate link, or I've got that same link on the QR code right here. Otherwise, I want to be sure and tell you about StreamYard. StreamYard is what we're using to go live right now, simultaneously across multiple channels. Any social media channel that you can get a stream key for, you can go live on StreamYard. And we don't just like it because we can stream simultaneously on multiple channels. We like it because we can be super creative. As you see, we've got overlays here, all the fun stuff. We had the video. We can have multiple people in here. You'll be seeing us changing camera angles around, and it's awesome. We love it, and we've created a whole business off of it because we help businesses go live on LinkedIn and other social platforms. But you may not need an agency to do that for you. Maybe you can do it yourself. So if that is you, I suggest checking out StreamYard. There is a QR code here I'm pointing at, and that is my affiliate link. If you do decide to use it, feel free to send me an email at jessie@reveting.com, and I'll be happy to hop on a call with you to get you started and set up for success. Because if you sign up with my link, then of course I get a cut of it every month as well. So I would appreciate your support. But without further ado, let's bring in our amazing guests for today. We have Shana Ayabe and Chris Rodgers. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Hey, good to be here.
Thank you for being here. And real quick to our audience, we would love to know, I saw just a second ago, there were 10 of you on YouTube. I'm not looking at LinkedIn. I don't know how many of you are there, Instagram. But if you're here, let us know by leaving a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from, what it is you do for a living, because we're talking about marketing here. So what industry are you in? And we'd love to tailor this conversation for you and make it a live, interactive, whole conversation, not just with us, but with you, our listeners as well. And we appreciate you being here. But before we get into our hot topics, we want to learn more about our guests. So Shana, could you kick us off by telling us your full life story from birth to what brought you to now in 2 minutes?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Shana Ayabe. I am founder and CEO of Grace Media Digital. I identify as being a corporate escapee. I spent over a decade in asset management and was head of marketing for a $100 billion asset manager During that time, I helped grow the firm $80 billion, including an over $20 billion transaction. And in 2024, I was diagnosed with the heart condition unexpectedly at the ripe age of 36, which definitely put things into perspective for me. From that came the birth of my podcast, The Exit Interview, where we interview people who have exited and done things that are unique in their careers to show insights on what is possible besides climbing the corporate ladder. And also with that came the birth of my company, Grace Media Digital, where we basically try and replace the team that I was managing of 15 professionals at my previous asset manager with a team of 4 and AI tools. And so that is why we're here today. I will say that it is refreshing to see that even though the job market has been interesting, there are a lot of solo entrepreneurs popping up in addition to me who are taking their expertise and specialties and also sharing their knowledge with other people to also be successful. And so that's a little bit about me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, and also for sharing that personal part about, the trials and tribulations you went through early on, and how they helped shape your path.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. But Chris, we want to pass it over to you with 2 minutes on the clock. Could you please do the same and tell us your full life story?
Well, I'll skip the youth, but my name's Chris Rodgers. I'm the founder and CEO of CSP Agency. I actually started my career at RH Donnelley in print and digital marketing and sales. RH Donnelley was the publisher of the Yellow Pages in Chicago, and they rolled out their first digital marketing product. It was an automated pay-per-click product, and I gravitated towards it very heavily because of the data tracking and the transparency. Very early on, I learned that these profile pages that ads were getting sent to, I could go in and optimize. So that was my first experience with SEO. I then took my 401k and flipped it for my first startup, social media and travel site in the ski and snowboard industry. Had a lot of fun, and then opened up my SEO agency in 2012. We originally were Colorado SEO pros. The intent was to be the Colorado SEO agency. We ultimately decided to build out our own site, do our own SEO, and very quickly started getting leads from all over the country and internationally. First year, we kind of tried to hang on as we got really more business than we could handle. Fast forward, we're now 13 years later. I command a small but mighty team of SEO and geo experts. We launched our generative engine optimization program last October, and it has been a wild ride. Really excited about the topic. Human first is very much our ethos, so looking forward to the podcast today.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yes, wow, 13 years. That's incredible. Both of you have really amazing and impressive backgrounds. So thank you so much. Let's get into our first topic. So topic number 1. Oh, before I get there, we've got Nina tuning in from Iowa. Got someone from New York City. Where is everyone else tuning in from? And also, what is your industry? What do you do? We want to tailor this conversation for you, and we want it to be interactive for you, our listeners. So keep the questions and comments coming. We'll put them up on the screen and we'll talk with you, not at you. But Shana, can you kick us off with our first topic, which is how AI is reshaping modern marketing?
Yeah, of course. Would love to. I think AI has been reshaping modern marketing in 3 fundamental ways. When I take a bird's eye view at it, what I really see is, 1, let's acknowledge that the ability to execute on visions. Now we've been able, with AI, to execute on visions that originally weren't possible, or we're able to execute on them with shorter time durations. So those have been positives. The negative that has been brought on with AI achieving those things has been questionable quality sometimes, which we can probably get into. The second part is the megaphone effect. So I think marketers in general are always trying to achieve being able to get that megaphone. You want to be on a soapbox, you want to be in the spotlight, you want to be able to have as many people as possible see you very quickly and be able to get your brand and product out there. And with the use of AI, a lot of marketers, every marketer is able to do that now more effectively in a shorter period of time. But the trade-off is that also non-traditional trained marketers also have access to the same tools and are also able to do the same thing without having the background that a traditionally trained marketer would have in a shorter amount of time, creating more saturation of marketers, whether they identify as marketers or not. So that has increased competition for attention. And the third way is that I think it's just fundamentally changed and evolved the way that we're measuring marketing success in general. And so I think with those three components, those are sort of like the fundamental changes. When I think of marketing as a whole, the two ways I like to think of it is in two buckets. Like the first is marketing operations, and the second is branding and trust. That's really what marketers are doing. And so within the marketing operations component, you have sort of three tranches. There's the creativity portion of it, there's the data analysis portion of it, and then there's the tools. And AI has been very effective in improving the marketing operations side of marketing. On the other side, we have the branding and trust. Now, as I mentioned earlier, everyone's been given a megaphone thanks to AI. And so branding has really accelerated. People are paying more attention to it. It's now, if you don't have branding, what are you doing type of deal. Whereas before it used to be like branding was really important just for really big brands or companies with a lot of big budget. And now there's been this explosion of understanding your personal brand as well as just your company brand as well, and putting a face to a brand rather than just the brand itself, because people now are trusting people more than they're trusting brands thanks to AI. So before it used to be, that's Coca-Cola. You're going to drink Coca-Cola because you trust the product is good, but you don't know who's behind Coca-Cola. And now what we're seeing is the backlash of Coca-Cola when they did an AI generated video and people did not approve. So it's breaking trust as it relates to the branding side of things, AI is. But then on the marketing operations side, we're seeing a lot of strive and improvement because AI is creating possibilities that used to only be possible with big budgets, big teams, and people who only had access to certain tools. So I think those are the cornerstones of what is changing in the marketplace as it relates to marketing in general and how AI is impacting it. But I'm happy to get into a deep dive of kind of any of those components.
Yes, I love that. And I want to get Chris's perspective on this. But before we do, I want to ask you, Shana, of course, it's obvious. You just got to scroll LinkedIn and see the AI written post to know that like it's not a real human and people are losing trust. Read a blog, it's AI, you see the M dash, like there's just so much garbage out there. But is there anything that AI is doing that is helping build trust that you've seen?
I think it is creating a lot of, it's allowing people to have idea generation at a faster rate than they originally did. And that is positive for brands who have solid offerings. So people or brands who have solid offerings, it's been extremely helpful to help them get to market in a more timely manner and for people to find good products. Although there's a saturation of marketers, I think that a lot of really solid products and services have been born as a result of AI that otherwise maybe wouldn't have or would have taken a lot longer to come to market. So I think that's definitely an improvement. And then on the marketing operations side, you can argue that it has alleviated costs as it relates to specifically equipment. Before, if you wanted to do a high quality video, you would need an entire video crew of people. You would need to make sure that you have specific engineers. You'd have to do timelines. You'd need to get licensing and permits for anything that you needed a space for. And it would be very, very costly. But then the trade-off now has been you can AI generate videos, or you can even do videos with higher quality and then edit them with AI tools, which is arguably saving costs. Now, you can also argue that that's also cutting into our labor market. And that's another discussion that we can talk about. But in general, it would be allowing the execution component of visions to be more accessible to smaller companies and smaller brands.
Yes, definitely. A great response. I totally, I totally am picking up on that. It's just like use AI to scale ideas as a reference point. Good stuff. Chris, what's your take on all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. We definitely see a larger megaphone, and everyone can have a megaphone. And the pitfall is when people are using AI to cut corners and automate, right? And that's part of their workflow and process, because they're automating, right? And so I think what we're seeing, like when we look at brand and trust, like that's the human. Like the human element has to be what drives that brand and trust. And the best outputs that you're going to get from AI is when it is fed human innovation, human creativity, and we're using AI to amplify that natural innovation and creativity, right? So for things that are being done better, it really lifts the bar of what that output should be. And for those that are using it to cut corners and just kind of automate, it's really clear. Like Shana said, we can see when people are doing that, and that hurts your brand and trust, right? So I think we're going to have a renaissance of the value of human characteristics, human content, humanness in general.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if everyone's using the same AI tools, everyone's going to start to look and sound the same. So does taste become the real competitive advantage in today's AI age? Like what's both of your take on that?
I have an excellent story about this, actually. So I follow two women who are business coaches and very well known in their spaces and very good at what they do. And both of them use AI, but one is a little bit more forward facing about how she uses AI, and it's part of her offering as a coach for her clients. And she is the one who has rapidly grown over the last year and a half, has just surpassed, I think, like over 100,000 or close to 100,000 followers on LinkedIn. And the other one has almost 1 million followers on Instagram, has been in this business coaching and social media space for, I think, over a decade, and is a lot more established in the space, uses AI. She's acknowledged using AI, but it's not part of what she really talks about. And just recently, I saw both of them come out with a marketing campaign, and it was almost the exact campaign. Their tagline was the exact same. Their colors were the exact same. And then the graphics were extremely similar. So somebody like me who follows both of them saw both of these campaigns at the same time and then was like, this is part of the problem with AI. There was hardly any differentiation between them. And they obviously were both used or created with the assistance of AI. And what then set them apart was me having to like go in and then dig really about like their story and what it was that would separate them, which is the human part of what they could offer, right? And so that was interesting to me to see. This is literally the exact same tagline. These campaigns are running at the same time to basically the same audience. And then it was like, well, what's different about this one versus that one besides just the follower count, right?
Yeah, definitely. So interesting. And I feel like I know I don't know the exact coaches you're talking about, but I feel like I've seen that before where like coaches will have the same exact like landing page with like the same call to action, and it almost looks like they used a template and just like like shared it. But anyway, yeah, you're right. I digress. But let's hop into our next topic, which is the value of human first GEO framework in an AI driven world. So, I mean, AI is making it harder for us to build trust. And also, we've been doing SEO to appeal to the Google search and to be, ranked ideally on the first page or the second page, and to climb your way up. But now AI is changing that too. So can you talk to us about all of that, Chris? And we almost talk about GEO now almost every other week on this show. So anything that is unique that you feel like you and your team have found, which I guess would be this framework. So I'll just pass it over to you to teach us what you know.
Yeah, for sure. So we started taking a different approach in SEO probably like 5 years ago, and we just characterized it as human first. It was like human first SEO, and to us it was focusing on our clients' business, their unique value proposition, their audience personas, like marketing, right? This is basic marketing 101, but in the SEO space, it was pretty unique. Really focusing in on the human connections that need to be made in that process so that the output is actually meaningful goals, strategic goals, revenue generation, things that stakeholders at mid-market and enterprise organizations actually care about beyond things like rankings and audit scores. I started building our GEO program about a year ago. We launched our first paid program in October, and one of the largest challenges that I ran into was prompt engineering. We had a process we were using when we started the program, but ultimately, most of what's being done for prompt engineering is deriving prompts from keywords, or people are going into Google Search Console data or Google Analytics, or they've got agents that are scouring, Reddit and things like that, looking for things out in the wild. But the problem is there really isn't a foundational source of truth. So with keywords, we've got that Google Ads data that it backs up to. So we've got a source of truth coming from Google. With prompts, we don't. And one of the key problems with prompts is, if you've looked at some of these platforms for tracking prompts, it is cost prohibitive to track every prompt that you might want to under the sun. And for a money keyword, you could have 10,000 prompts. So how do you ultimately tie back to the things that matter? Where we landed was this human first GEO framework. So it is where we have a process where we are very much digging into our clients' unique value proposition, their audiences, their problem solution fit, their positioning versus competitors. And as we go through that, we prioritize it based on what matters to them, and our marketing teams we work with, what matters to their bosses and what they're getting from stakeholders. And then ultimately we identify customer buying situations. These are real humans in real situations that have different things that are driving them to seek our customers' products or services. So once we've identified those specific situations, we then go through the prompt engineering process. And our customers know what those situations are. They can validate it with their own business intelligence. So there's a source of truth that works, so that we're not spending, at a Fortune 100, $1 million plus tracking prompts. Maybe they still want to do that. Some do. But if they want to focus in on the things that actually matter, we can hone in on those prompts. And then from there, we're developing out owned and earned media campaigns based on that. But ultimately, it is this human first approach that is very much focused on those human situations.
Chris, have you found that customer interviews are becoming, more valuable now that we have AI that can just generate a lot of generic content?
Definitely looking at your sales meetings and those transcripts and going back and looking at all of that, right? You'll get all those pain points, all those questions. It's extremely valuable. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, what's your take on all of this, Shana?
Yeah, I agree. There needs to be kind of human components embedded in everything, I think. We were just talking today, or we've started a new, on my podcast team, we started a new segment on our podcast called Expert Corner, because we had a flood of people who wanted to come on as guests who were founders and have service offerings. And so we decided to start this Expert Corner where we can do sort of like a mini 30-minute episode and have them share their expertise to help our audience. But as part of the review process of that, I had asked, let's see if we can get some testimonials after the fact. And the thought from my co-host came up that maybe we should do a video, simply because with the AI generated component of things, how do you know, is this a true testimonial? Is it AI generated, or is this some sort of spinoff? And so I think that is just another touch of like a human component that will add into sort of the validity of what we're offering. We've also found it effective to do video podcasting over just audio podcasting, because it's like an actual person. Whereas I know some people who do podcasts and they use 11 labs to do a lot of the audio of the podcast. So it's not even really them. And so that's another thing too, that we're seeing sort of as an evolution of things. We've also seen on the entertainment side, trailers are now being 100% AI generated. And there's mixed reviews on those, but the possibilities are there, and whether or not people are going to gravitate towards one or the other. I think for entertainment purposes, initially when it was novel, those things were attractive. But I think now that they're becoming almost too realistic, where things are deceiving, there's a much higher demand for branding to develop trust by making it easily identifiable that it's actually a human behind the brand.
Yes, definitely. Do you want to respond to that, Chris?
No, I completely agree. And I think, like I said, I think we're going to have a human renaissance. I do think we're going to be able to have technology that identifies what is truly human. And I think things that are created by real people are going to have a premium value. I think the arts are going to have a renaissance, and things that are real and authentic are going to have a lot of value. So, and agreed. Yeah, there's this novelty of like, oh, look at all these cool videos and things that we can make. But yeah, I mean, no, we don't want fake stuff that looks real that we don't know if it's real. If it's going to be fake, cool. Maybe there's really cool stuff we can see that's fake and it's entertaining, but no one wants to go through life questioning what's real and what's not, because you don't know how to form an opinion on it. So,
yeah, definitely. Chris, earlier we were talking about, customer feedback, and you mentioned listening to sales calls. So before we moved on to the next topic, I was curious, do your highest performing GEO pages answer questions that first show up specifically in those customer conversations?
I don't know, to be honest with you. We've got, you mean for our clients or for us? Because
either one.
We've got the cobbler's shoe going on. Like we don't do nearly enough for ourselves, but for our clients, certainly, when we go through that framework, they are providing a wealth of information in that first part of the discovery process. So we're understanding really those key pain points. And for our clients that are tracking those things, that's a lot of where they're getting those is from sales calls and from that process. And so that very much feeds into the prompts that we're targeting. And yeah, definitely carries over with what they're, showing up in citations and being mentioned for.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, what tool do you use to record sales calls? Is it Gong?
No, I use Fathom.
Oh, Fathom. Okay.
Fathom is our favorite, and Fathom has an MCP too, which is awesome. So then you can have, Claude or whatever LLM go through all of it.
Yeah. Wow. It's a new day. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. Really great topic. Our next topic is going to be why storytelling still wins in an AI-driven world. And we're going to get to that right after this brief message.
This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike on Twitter. Mike hired a virtual assistant from Cherry Assistant about 2 years ago. Now he has a $50K per month business fully managed by a remote operator in South Africa. His VA from South Africa does the following: closing inbound leads on the phone, Yelp and Google and Facebook, manages his CRM and go high level, deals with rescheduling, cancellations, any issues, hires and manages the cleaners, and sends them daily reports and updates. Mike has a fully cash flowing business managed by a remote operator for only $8 an hour. You can also hire a US equivalent worker in the Philippines, South Africa, Latin America for a fraction of the cost with Cherry Assistant. Be like Mike and grow your business with offshore staff.
At Reviting, we help B2B founders, executives, brands turn their live streaming into a real revenue channel. One live stream turns into a podcast, it turns into a social clip, it turns into email content like a newsletter, and actual sales conversations. You get to have a lot of conversations with people when you have a podcast or a live stream like this. And if you want to be known, trusted, and remembered in your industry without being online 24/7, worrying about your posting, this is what we do. Just head on over to reviting.com and let's build your show.
I want to give a quick testimonial for the Reviting team. I was really nervous about doing lives. They very much have helped me increase my reach and online presence. So thank you, Reviting.
I love what you and the team do. I've been picking up 50 followers a day just because that content is resonating so well. It's working across a lot of different channels for me.
One of the problems that we struggle with is getting our brand out there. Her team have been able to do for us is the idea of going live on LinkedIn and using that platform to its fullest extent through the way they're able to take the live event and break it down into bite-sized posts, video clips, as well as the content within the posts themselves.
Big thanks to our customers. We had a question come in from David asking his question. How do mid-market companies force 30% more traffic to their revenue engine? Chris, you want to take that question real quick?
How do mid-market companies force 30% more traffic to their revenue engine? I don't want this to be self-serving, but we would use the human first framework. It would be a combination of SEO and geo, and we would focus a lot of what we're doing on the middle of funnel as a starting point. Really focusing in on, head-to-head comparisons, best of in specific categories, making sure that we've got really strong audience alignment within that content. And then, focusing in on, where our highest revenue generating pages are on the website. I would probably add some earned media in there for air power and some targeted link building and third-party content placement for geo.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing that. Let's get into our third topic. Shana, can you kick us off on why storytelling still wins in an AI-driven world?
Yes. This is actually one of the highest paying jobs that now big tech is looking to fill is storytellers, which is ironic because so many people are using AI to write right now. So it's a little bit, I think initially when we first started seeing these jobs pop up, people were a little bit confused as to what does that mean, storytelling? Why do you need a storytelling expert to come on staff when you have AI and you guys are pushing AI? And the answer is that AI doesn't have experiences. It only can synthesize what it is learning and consuming from what it's reading about or watching about humans or listening to. But AI itself cannot actually experience anything. And so therefore, there's always going to be a gap of being able to connect on an emotional level between an AI and a human. So I think with storytelling now being of front and focus and also communications, we're seeing a lot of new communications positions popping up across AI companies, is because they're understanding that strong communication with storytelling, by leading with storytelling, is a way to build trust faster with the end user and your customers, and to also retain your customers. And I think, there's concerns around, but people talk to their ChatGPT every morning, or people talk to Claude and they're starting to use it as therapists. And so why couldn't an AI kind of replace that function? I think that people are recognizing that there's a little bit of a sycophantic tendency to these models. And so people are now starting to shy away a little bit from opening up so personally and replacing a human with AI. Not to say that it's not still happening on some level, but when you're pushing a brand, now you're going to connect more with your end client if you're able to connect with them on a more personal level, understanding their problem, being able to identify how you can solve that problem, and being able to give them the validation they need to know that you've already solved that problem before for somebody else and it was successful. But that sort of feedback loop can only happen when you have humans talking to humans. And so that's why I think the storytelling component of things is just completely in center focus of this entire AI ecosystem right now.
Yeah. And I see Chris nodding. Chris, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, absolutely. That human to human experience, right? I mean, this ultimately comes down to human needs, human challenges, human desires, and how humans can relate to each other, and the human experience. And that's something that AI can try to replicate, but it can't. It can't really understand, and it really is not going. It's not going to be able to innovate. It's not going to be able to come up with new experiences or new concepts from those human experiences in that same way. And it reminds me so much of like EAT within SEO, the experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. Like it is so it comes down to what are the things that humans are actually experiencing, what are they learning. AI just recycles, right? It's going to recycle in really innovative and awesome ways, but it is hungry for new information, for gain of information, and that comes from humans and the human experience. So that's where we're going to win.
Definitely. Well, I mean, stories have been around since the beginning of time. Humans were writing stories on cave walls. I mean, they resonate with our DNA. But what would you say, Shana, to wrap this up in terms of like any actionable tips listeners can take? And I know we've got one strong storyteller in here, Nina. She's a writer. But everyone here needs to be a storyteller in one way or another, no matter what you do. Even if you are a software engineer, you still need to be able to tell a story to get the things you need to get in life, because we're all marketing for something out there. But what actionable advice would you give people when it comes to telling a story?
I think the top piece of advice that I would probably give is to recognize what's a unique experience to you, and then identify within that experience how you can connect it to your offering. And that is going to allow you to personalize, almost like reverse engineer personalization from a marketing perspective, where you're like reverse personalizing your pitch by first personalizing yourself. So your brand now is your story, and you're connecting your own story to an offering. And that is something that everybody can do, because you wouldn't have a product or have a business if there wasn't some sort of experience that led you to ultimately get there. And so I think identifying kind of an experience that can tie that all together, and then being able to relay that into your storytelling as you go marketing and pitching to your target audience, will then make them feel already like they know you and connected to you. And then when you're then identifying what their challenges are and how you can service their challenges, it's sort of like a through line of your personalization.
So good. All right. Well, let's get into our final topic here, which is why GEO, SEO, content, and earned media must work together for AI search success. Tell us more about that, Chris.
Yeah. So when we're looking at AI search visibility, and ultimately, like the goal is being recommended in commercial searches. Like if I had to, filter it all down, citations and AI traffic, referrals, everything, it is when people are in the, bottom of the funnel, that by the time they get there, AI has decided that you are the best fit for them. SEO is your foundation. So SEO is still super important, right? Like we look at your rankings in Google, your rankings in Bing, for Claude, I guess your rankings in Brave, your site being clean and your pages being indexed, you having, by the way, unique content for your owned media that has true human expertise. When we're creating content, we have this whole process. The important thing is that you are getting human subject matter expertise, quotes, unique human data, those experiences, that storytelling. That stuff is really valuable in the content that you're putting out, and aligning it to your audience and ultimately that problem solution fit, right? So that content is essential. And then when we look at earned media is the really, I would say, the big difference maker when we're looking at going from SEO to geo. And there's other things too, but earned media is particularly different than SEO. So no, geo is not just SEO. I think the industry is finally coming around to this, but optimizing the larger internet ecosystem so that it agrees, so that AI has consensus, so that you can't just say on your website, we are the best X solution for Y person. That needs to be confirmed through all of these other sources. So that earned media becomes really important as part of that process. So owned, earned, your classic SEO, and kind of all that wraps up into the geo or generative engine optimization, or AEO, as it's also called, into AI search visibility and ultimately being recommended.
Nice. Thank you for getting into all of that and sharing that. So I'm curious, and I think we've talked about this before, Chris, earned media, but then there's also owned media. Like this would be owned media, our own produced content, where we're creating links on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music.
I've heard that called rented media.
Yeah, rented media. Well, it's still
when it's owned, but it's out on other channels.
It's out on other channels, but yeah, we still own the content. We can cut it up, redistribute it, put it on multiple channels. So rented media, owned media, whatever you want to call it. How does that fit into all of it?
Well, your owned media is your foundation, right? So that is where you are saying who you are, who you serve, what problems you solve, right? And that is your foundation. So it starts with your website. It's your about page. It's your homepage. It is being very clear about your audience, whether those are industries or sectors or even certain job titles and personas. Breaking down your website, for e-commerce, if you have a product catalog, going beyond the typical, products and categories, how do they solve problems for the different audiences, right? And then ultimately that's replicated on things like podcasts as well, where you own that content, but then it's being replicated out on all these, third-party sources. But before you even can get consensus on the earned media side, you've got to establish in your owned media with utmost specificity those factors: who you are, what you do, who you serve, the problems you solve, and the proof points. So whether it's reviews or case studies, you've got to back it up with the proof as well. And then from there, it's your earned media to then go in and get validation, across the web.
100%. So interesting. What's your take on all of this, Shana?
I agree. I think that, it all just comes back to the human and being able to, the things that we used to hide almost or like shy away from sharing are now going to be your competitive advantage. So being able to communicate who you are, what your experiences are, what you offer as it relates to that story, doing earned media, doing your owned media, because we do the same. We have a podcast as well. And I actually had to learn that lesson recently. Like I have a show called The Exit Interview, and I myself have not done my exit interview yet on the show, and I got called out. And so they were like, where's your exit interview? And ironically, it was somebody who works on Tony Robbins' team who convinced me, who said, you need to share your story. So we're in the process of doing that now, but that is a differentiator. And it was also awakening to me when we're talking to networks and things like that as well. Like they actually connected with me through my story. And I had, somebody who works at a media company that we were talking to, one of the networks recently, who sent me a nice email after and acknowledged the difficulties of my heart journey with me. And it was a really nice note. And I was like, oh, that's what she remembers about me most. And so even, us as, professionals who have been doing this a long time also are now unlearning the polished corporate speak in a way by being able to be more personalized by sharing ourselves as like people.
Yeah, definitely. All really great points. So same thing I asked Shana earlier to sum up our last topic. I want to ask you too, Chris, which is what actionable tips, actionable advice do you have for the audience that, they could start doing tomorrow to start getting ahead with, I don't know, their earned media and AI search success?
Yeah. Well, I mean, start with your website or your clients' websites, right? You've really got to flesh out and dial in what your solutions or products are and go a step further. You may have industries, if it's a B2B, industries that are listed on your website, and you may have solutions right on top of that. Are there industry specific solutions? Are there solutions for specific, specific titles that are out there? So going deeper into those individual humans, thinking about those different, customer buying situations or situations where someone is using a product or service. How does your client, or how do you serve those specific people? There is a personalization layer within LLMs, within generative engines. When people are chatting with ChatGPT or Claude, Claude has learned about you, right? If you're using it for business, it learns about your profession, your title, your challenges, what you're supposed to be doing. So the more specific you can be on the problems that you solve, the more one-for-one connections that you're going to have. So start with your website, and then you're replicating that out on your earned media, right? If you're doing a podcast, you can do topics that are around those specific problems that you are serving for those specific customers. You want to bring in a human element, you can bring some of those humans in to talk about how a specific solution has solved those problems and why it matters and the difference it ultimately makes. You ultimately, you got to track this stuff too. So, we've got to go in and track prompts and measure to see what's ultimately successful. But if I was going to give any advice, it would be to dial in to your audience, to the humans, the problem solution fit, build that out on your website, and then identify where you're solving those problems that actually matter. Have those proof points, and then go and replicate it out through earned media, through every website that you can get coverage on, every directory that's out there that covers you, and try to expand that footprint so that the internet footprint that's outside of your website is ultimately in agreement and reinforces what you're saying on your website.
Yeah, all great tips. Thank you so much for sharing that. Those were all really great topics today, but we're not done yet. We still have 10 minutes, and we've got our last segment I'm going to break to. The Guru of the Week. Ooh, ooh. The Guru of the Week. Ooh, ooh. So with almost 400 episodes, I've sang that song one too many times, and we just made a video. But yeah, what we like to know is, who should we go follow? We've just spent the last hour being inspired by you. So who inspires you on LinkedIn? Who has good content out there? Start with you, Shana.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say my co-host, Keisha Imani Cameron. And the reason I say that is not because she's my co-host, because before she was my co-host, she was actually my executive coach. And so somebody who's in finance, who was also somebody at the top, needed a coach. And she actually helped me a lot along the way, both through my journey of motherhood, also identifying what I really wanted within my corporate career, and she was, foundational in helping me get to the top and identify what paths to take during my corporate journey prior to me spinning off. She was also my first confidant that I kind of went to talk about considering leaving. And initially I thought, perhaps, am I being foolish to leave such a good job when I made it effectively, on paper, from what I had originally perceived was success, to go and kind of spin off on my own. And she really gave me the perspective of being able to understand that every event in your life is starting a new chapter, and careers and jobs and businesses should all be additive to your life, not take away from your life. And that perspective came from her and her background of she's an executive producer for documentaries by trade. Recently did Megan Thee Stallion in Her Words, which you can find on Amazon Prime, and also worked on Oprah's Hair Tales documentary as well. And she's just a really phenomenal person who is really, really good at providing personal insights for you to identify what is your story. And that is really what's going to help you to also develop your branding, your content, and your trust with your audience. So I would highly recommend giving her a follow and signing up for her newsletter, because she has a lot of good insights there.
That's awesome. And I'm just looking for her on LinkedIn. So you said her name was Keisha Armani?
Imani.
Imani.
Keisha, Kisha. Second name. Yeah, Imani, Imani. And last name Cameron.
Cameron, found her. Okay, amazing. I'm going to tag her in the comments. And while I do, Chris, could you tell us your guru of the week?
Yeah, I'm going to say Dwayne Forrester. So Dwayne Forrester, Dwayne is an OG in the SEO industry. So he's been around since the early days of SEO. And he was actually the head of the Bing Webmaster Tools program, and I think got that whole program off the ground. And he's dove in deep into AI search when that started developing. He has a book, The Machine Layer: How to Stay Visible and Trusted in the Age of AI Search, that was very good. And so I like following his stuff. He's got innovative ideas. He's also done some research on different AI platforms for geo that actually was pretty instrumental when we went to go select our own geo platform. So yeah, someone I respect and I think has great content around AI search and geo.
Amazing. And same with Dwayne. Is it Dwayne?
Dune Forrester, Forrester.
FOR, just one R or two R's?
Two R's.
Okay, found him. So Dwayne Forrester is the guru of the week. Thanks to, I'm putting it in the comments now. Everyone else, if you're watching, tag them and connect with them and follow them, because apparently, they have inspired our guest tonight. So they might inspire you too. Let's get Shana back up on the stage as we wrap up. We just want to learn more about both of you. If you could tell us a little bit more about you, who you serve, how you serve them, and if they can be served by you, how do they reach you? Start with you, Chris.
So we are the human first AI enhanced geo and SEO agency for B2B and e-commerce. We work with anything from funded startups to mid-market to enterprise. And you can reach us at csp.agency. We do provide geo audits that we run across live LLMs. We limit how many we do every month because of the work and data costs. But you can request a geo audit through our website if you want to get in touch.
A geo audit. Yeah, can't turn that down. And how about you, Shana? Could you tell us a little bit more about you, who you serve, and if they could be served by you, how do they reach you?
Yeah, we amplify voices shaping industries, and our approach is to identify what your natural, organic storytelling and tendencies for messaging are, and to amplify that, as opposed to trying to change you to be a specific type of corporate polish box. So what we like to do is really identify what makes you unique, what's your natural message for your company, how can we identify what your strengths are, amplify that, and then complement your strengths with other strengths that maybe you need some improvement on using a combination of our team and AI tools to help you be more successful. We service financial services companies, asset managers, family offices, any kind of RIAs, anything like that, who need some assistance on the marketing and media side where they don't have big marketing teams. And so you can find us at gracemediadigital.com, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message, and I'd be happy to talk to you.
Thank you so much. I just put your website in the comments as well. Oh, it's trying to click enter on it, but it's not letting me. Okay, well, I'll get to that after the show, but this has been a really great episode. Appreciate both of you staying on, and everyone still tuning in across channels. Thanks for being here, and we will be back with another awesome episode of WinsDay next week. But if you are just flipping through the socials and you didn't hear this whole podcast, you can listen to this full story and all other episodes. You can binge all 400 of them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. But I hope everyone has a great night and happy Wednesday.
Bye.